If you've been following the crisis at Boeing, this once fantastic, all-American, iconic company, you know that they've been dogged by congressional investigations and whistleblower testimony for the last few years. There have been a lot of big scandals, including two huge crashes of two 737 MAXs in 2018 and 2019, which killed hundreds of people. In January, an Alaskan Airlines Boeing jetliner, the panel blew out. It was amazing nobody was killed. And whistleblowers have been coming forward, but there's been a twist, of course, that two whistleblowers within 2 months this past year died under what people thought were mysterious circumstances. John Barnett died of suicide, and Josh Dean, who was a much younger man in his 40s, died of a mysterious fast-acting illness. And a lot of conspiracy theories swirled around these two deaths. And the attorney for these two whistleblowers, who represents up to 15 other whistleblowers, told me, I'm worried that people will become scared to come forward. Well, what I found out in my story today is they're not afraid to come forward. In fact, Brian Knowles, the South Carolina lawyer who is managing a lot of these, representing a lot of these whistleblowers, told me he got dozens more people coming forward that he has to vet. In the meantime, there were two other new whistleblowers who are coming forward right now, a guy named Roy Irvin, who worked at Boeing for a long time, and a man named Santiago Paredes, who worked for Boeing's sister supplier, Spirit AeroSystems. And, you know, to talk to these two men, it's really frightening. Their only goal, as far as I can see, is to make sure Boeing planes don't crash. They both were quality inspectors for Boeing and for Spirit. And what they told me was they were both inspectors, like at the end of the line. The planes came to them after they were in the factory, and supposedly everything had checked out. They were like just the final, you know, the final line before the planes got shipped to fly. And both of them told me unbelievable defects they saw literally every day. Fasteners that weren't fast, clamps that were missing, dents. And both of them told me that when they brought this up, they were basically told to shut up. In one case, in Santiago Paredes' case, he was demoted. In Roy Irvin's case, he said he was forced to be insubordinate by what he saw, and he eventually left. They both spoke about a fairly intimidating, quasi-retaliatory atmosphere, but they said, we don't care. They both told me that they were aware of the conspiracy theories around the deaths of John Barnett and Josh Dean, but they were not afraid. Even though Santiago Paredes told me that he does actually sort of literally look over his shoulder and make sure he's not being followed, you can kind of understand that paranoia. Roy Irvin said he's not afraid. He also said, and this is not a story about conspiracy theories, he said he did not really totally buy the suicide, the reported suicide of John Barnett. He said he knew him well. He was adamant about testifying about Boeing. He was in the middle of his testimony when he shot himself. However, Charleston, South Carolina police have closed that case and definitively labeled it a suicide. So again, case closed. But both these men, I think, are pretty brave in coming forward. When I went to Boeing PR and I said to them, all these whistleblowers do not seem to be disgruntled ex-employees. They seem to be real all-American, almost like 1950s types of men and women that, again, just want to be sure these planes are safe. And Boeing just gets back to me and says, we welcome people speaking out. We don't retaliate. They didn't comment on why there are so many people saying there are so many defects in these planes. But all I can say is hold on to your hat, because I think there's going to be a lot more whistleblowers in Boeing's future.